Imagine an empire so powerful, it could erase your entire existence and still forget your name. Now imagine being part of a legion so feared that even silence couldn't hide what happened to you. The Roman Ninth Legion. Brave, brutal, and then gone. No survivors. No graves. Just questions. Welcome to HistoryMind. The Legio IX Hispana, also known as the Ninth Legion, was born in blood. Its origins trace back to the brutal civil wars of Julius Caesar. Forged in the fires of Spain and Gaul, this legion didn't just fight, it conquered. It crushed rebellions. It marched faster, struck harder, and followed orders colder than the steel of its swords. By the time Augustus became emperor, the Ninth was already a name to fear and respect. They fought under Caesar, they bled under Augustus, and they lived for glory, or died trying. As Rome expanded across Europe, the Ninth marched with it, into France, Germany, and even North Africa. They weren't just soldiers, they were enforcers of Roman law and wrath, but it was Britain that would become their obsession. In 43 AD, Emperor Claudius launched a full-scale invasion of the British Isles. Among the invasion force, the Ninth Legion. They landed with fury, crushing resistance and building Rome's grip on the island. For years, they fought tribal leaders, burned villages, and built forts across the misty, hostile land. But Britain was different. It didn't break easily. The people here didn't just fear Rome, they hated it. In 60 AD, everything changed. A woman named Boudica, queen of the Iceni, rose against Roman tyranny. Her lands had been seized, her daughters violated, her people enslaved. She wasn't a warrior by birth, but pain made her one. And when Boudica's rebellion erupted, it was the Ninth who stood in her way. They underestimated her. They paid in blood. The Ninth Legion was nearly annihilated trying to intercept Boudica's forces. Their commander barely escaped. Thousands of men were slaughtered. Rome reeled. Boudica burned Londinium, modern-day London, to the ground. Her army left cities in ash and Roman pride in ruins. This was not just a defeat, it was humiliation. But Rome doesn't stay humiliated for long. Rome struck back, hard. New legions were sent. Roads were rebuilt. Forts rose again. And the Ninth Legion? Reinforced, reformed, and quietly returned to service. But they were never the same. To the Romans, they were still a fighting unit. To the tribes of Britain, they were the face of vengeance. And to themselves, they were a ghost, a broken sword sharpened again. For decades, the Ninth patrolled Britain's wild north. Caledonia, now Scotland, was a place of mist, rock, and rage. The tribes here were wild, unyielding, and proud. They fought from shadows, hills, and legends. And the Ninth kept pushing. Rome decided it wanted the whole island. Not just the soft south, not just the towns, but the entire wild mass of it. The Ninth moved north. They built a massive fortress in York, known as Eboracum. They made roads, watched forests, trained in icy winds. The Legion had become a hammer in waiting, but whispers traveled with them. Tribes spoke of the Black Eagles, Roman banners, as cursed, that anyone who crossed the rivers into the Highland mist would never return. And still, the Ninth marched. Sometime between 108 and 120 AD, the Ninth Legion vanished. Just gone. No battle reports, no military funerals, no Roman triumphs, nothing. One day, they were patrolling the northern frontier. The next, erased. Was it an ambush? A betrayal? A rebellion inside the Legion itself? Some historians believe they were wiped out in a massacre so devastating, Rome covered it up out of shame. Others think they were simply transferred, quietly relocated to another front. But the records are silent. And that silence has haunted history for centuries. They were Rome's blade, forged in war, broken by rebellion, and swallowed by time. But this is only the beginning, because what happened next will question everything we know about truth, memory, and the power of forgetting. The mist still whispers in the north, and it's calling the Ninth by name. This is HistoryMind. No official records, no witnesses, no graves. And yet, something happened. Rome was a civilization obsessed with documentation. Wars, taxes, births, deaths. They wrote everything down. But not this. When the Ninth disappeared, they left behind no scroll, no survivor's account, not even a rumor from the Senate floor. It's almost as if someone wanted them forgotten. And aha, that's when history gets interesting. Behind the marble walls of the Roman Empire, something shifted. In the years following the Ninth's last known deployment in Britain, Rome suddenly launched an unusual set of moves. They rushed to reinforce the island. New legions, the 6th, the 20th, were sent north. They weren't just garrisoning Britain. They were trying to contain it. Some say this wasn't a simple frontier conflict. It was a cover-up. The Ninth Legion didn't just vanish into the mist. They were swallowed by something too shameful, or too terrifying, for the Empire to admit. Imagine a cold northern morning, fog thick like wet wool, the sound of armor clinking, boots crunching frozen soil, thousands of men, trained and disciplined, marching into Caledonia. They don't know what's waiting. A forest? A battle? A trap? Roman scouts had warned of rising unrest. The local tribes, the Caledoni, the Maiatai, had been regrouping, but Rome believed its military strength was unbreakable. The Ninth didn't hesitate. They never came back. No messengers, no reports, no signs of retreat, only the wind. Over the centuries, dozens of theories have tried to explain what happened. Some say it was a massive ambush, that the tribes, united under a secret war leader, slaughtered the Ninth in a single overwhelming strike. Others believe the legion mutinied, that after years of cold, rebellion, and betrayal from Rome, they chose to disappear, to defect, to become something else. One theory even claims the Ninth was transferred quietly to Armenia or the Rhine and wiped out elsewhere. But if that were true, why is there no trace? No memorial? No record? Wow! Even in death, Roman soldiers were honored, but not the Ninth. A few years later, Rome began building something it had never built before: Hadrian's Wall, 73 miles of stone and fear, stretching across the entire width of Britain. Why? To stop a threat they suddenly took very seriously. A threat so real, they built a wall instead of sending more men. The timing is suspicious. Too perfect. The Ninth disappears. Then Rome builds a wall right where they were last seen. It's like a line drawn in panic. A message, this far, and no farther. Fast forward to the 2nd century. A Roman historian named Fronto mentions that many soldiers had died in Britain. He never says who, but he writes it in a tone of grief, of anger. Could he have meant the Ninth? Later, another author, Eutropius, names all active legions. And the Ninth is gone. No footnote, no obituary, just gone. The erasure is so clean it feels deliberate, like someone edited history with a sword. Centuries passed. But the mist never let go of the Ninth. In the 20th century, archaeologists unearthed Roman military artifacts near the Caledonian frontier, temporary camps, shattered weapons, signs of sudden destruction. But no organized battlefield, no defensive lines, just the remains of something caught off guard and crushed. In York, the Ninth's old fortress, stones still bear their marks. Carvings of eagles, Latin initials, silent pride, and silence. What haunts historians most is how easily the Ninth's story was erased. No legion had served Rome longer. No unit had seen more wars. And yet, their ending is a blank page. But even ghosts leave shadows. Legends in northern England speak of red soldiers seen marching through the fog, phantom armies doomed to repeat their final march. Folklore? Maybe. But maybe, just maybe, the land remembers what Rome chose to forget. They say history is written by the victors, but what if the losers never truly lost? What if they changed the world by disappearing from it? The story of the Ninth isn't finished, because even in silence, they echo. In ruins, in records, in the stories we whisper when no one else will. The mist still lingers, and deep beneath the soil of time, the Ninth waits to be heard. Britain is full of ruins. Roman baths, buried roads, crumbling walls worn smooth by wind and time. But beneath that silence are stories, real stories, waiting for someone to listen. In York, archaeologists found stone altars, bearing the name of the Ninth Legion, inscriptions that read like quiet prayers, carved by soldiers who thought they'd be remembered. One reads, "To the spirits of the departed and the gods, from the men of the Ninth. They were here. They left their mark. And then, they vanished." In 2010, deep in the soil near the River Tees, researchers uncovered a mass grave. Dozens of bodies. Men, teenagers, even children. All brutally killed. No burial rites, no armor, just violence. Some were beheaded, some had broken bones. Most had died facing their attackers. Could they have been survivors? The last remnants of a legion too proud to retreat and too forgotten to be rescued? The timeline fits, the location fits, but the names are still missing, and Rome never claimed them. Another theory, bold, strange, but hard to ignore, suggests the ninth didn't die in Britain at all. Some believe they were reassigned, quietly sent east to fight in Armenia or Judea. Inscriptions from Nijmegen, in modern Netherlands, mention a detachment of the ninth stationed there after their disappearance from British records. Did they march across Europe, ghosts in armor, never returning to their homeland? Inscriptions speak Vimedi, but they don't explain. Was this the same legion? Or a fragment wearing a name already buried? Even their second life, if it existed, ended in silence. The mystery of the ninth grew bigger than history. It became myth. In the 1950s, Rosemary Sutcliffe's novel, The Eagle of the Ninth, reimagined a young Roman trying to reclaim his father's lost honor. Then came films, documentaries, and conspiracies. People were no longer just studying the ninth. They were chasing them. Tourists hike the wild northern trails, searching for clues. Children grow up hearing tales of red-cloaked soldiers marching through the fog. It's no longer about finding bones. It's about believing something still lingers. Here's the truth, buddy. Whether the ninth was wiped out, reassigned, or simply erased, they mattered. Not just to Rome, but to us. Because they remind us of something we often forget. That history isn't always written. Sometimes it's hidden. Sometimes it's whispered. Sometimes it's buried beneath the same soil we walk on today. And sometimes it refuses to stay buried. They were once the empire's pride. Now they are a question. A riddle carved in stone. A silence so loud it still echoes after 2,000 years. But maybe, just maybe, that's the point. Maybe their disappearance wasn't the end of their story. Maybe it was the beginning of ours. Because every time we ask what happened to them, we're really asking what happens when power fades, when names are forgotten, and when memory becomes myth. The Ninth Legion may never return, but the search for them, that will never end. And as long as we're still searching, they're not really gone. If this story moved you, if the silence of the ninth made you feel something, then don't let their memory fade. Like this video. Subscribe to HistoryMind, and let's keep telling the stories that were never supposed to be told. Because here, the forgotten are never truly lost.